On October 10, 1943, an entire bomber squadron's fate was sealed before they even took off. This is the story of the 100th Bomb Group. The order was simple yet fatal: proceed to the primary target regardless of escort disruption. For the 100th Bomb Group, this was a death sentence. The setting was RAF Thorpe Abbotts in eastern England, the morning of October 10, 1943. Fog hung low as the B-17s prepared for a routine mission. Their target was Munster, deep in northwestern Germany, a daylight precision bombing raid that demanded tight formation and continuous fighter protection. But the mission's core vulnerability was an inflexible order: press on, even if the fighter escort failed or the tactical situation collapsed. The escort plan was already fragile, segmented by fuel limits and broken by adverse weather over the North Sea. Daylight bombing relied entirely on tight formations and non-stop fighter escort to survive the deep penetration raids over Germany. Cloud layers and takeoff delays scattered the P-47 Thunderbolts, fracturing the protection plan right from the start. The P-47 Thunderbolts assigned to protect the bombers struggled to rendezvous, leaving the bomber stream increasingly exposed. The moment of truth arrived as they crossed the Dutch coast, isolated and alone, drifting out of position from the main force. The 100th Bomb Group was now detached, visible, and predictable. German radar had already tagged them as an easy target. The standing orders dictated that group commanders must continue to the target unless explicitly recalled, even without escort. Turning back was considered a greater sin than pressing into danger, substituting persistence for sound judgment. What followed was not a battle, but an execution stretched over 90 minutes as the Luftwaffe descended upon the exposed B-17s. German radar quickly vectored Jagdgeschwader units directly onto the isolated 100th Group, setting the stage for the massacre. JG-3 and JG-26 attacked in coordinated waves from head-on and the rear, exploiting the exact vulnerabilities the American planners thought they had neutralized. Without adequate escort, the defensive firepower of the B-17s quickly diminished. One by one, aircraft fell, their loss magnifying the danger for the rest. The abstract order issued in the calm of headquarters now resulted in shredded aluminum and shattered lives. Despite the brutal cost, the bombs were released, striking the target with technical success that couldn't hide the human devastation. The attacks resumed with renewed intensity on the withdrawal. No comprehensive escort materialized until it was far too late. Of the 13 B-17s dispatched by the 100th Bomb Group, only one returned undamaged. 9 were lost outright. The disaster was a failure not of bravery, but of institutional rigidity, a fear that admitting weakness would unravel the entire daylight bombing strategy. Commanders intensely debated critical operational aspects, specifically fighter range and escort doctrine, trying to find a solution to reduce casualties. Despite these debates and early losses, the core operational assumptions remained largely intact, leading to continued high risks. It wasn't until major disasters that the underlying issues could no longer be ignored, forcing a severe operational reassessment. Losses at Munster and, tragically, Schweinfurt on October 14th were pivotal moments that revealed the deep flaws in the current doctrine. These heavy losses forced a reckoning that no policy document or internal memorandum could postpone, demanding immediate and drastic change. Following these dark days, the focus shifted to rebuilding both forces and morale, determined to continue the strategic objectives. The 100th Bomb Group, severely hit, was painstakingly rebuilt with replacement crews and aircraft, preparing for the missions ahead. The daylight bombing campaign pressed on, eventually achieving significant strategic effects, proving the long-term value of the effort. A key element in the eventual success was the introduction of long-range escort fighters, fundamentally changing the risk equation. Strategic effects were finally achieved once long-range escorts, particularly the P-51 Mustang, became a standard part of the mission. The presence of these escorts completely altered the reality of the mission's risk, offering protection that had previously been sorely lacking. The legacy of these losses leaves us with a difficult question about the cost of victory and the decisions made. Men died on October 10, 1943, not because the mission was technically impossible, but because flexibility had been deliberately removed from the command system. Was the catastrophe merely an unavoidable, albeit tragic, step toward the eventual strategic success of the bombing campaign? Or was it simply the predictable, grim outcome of valuing doctrinal purity and adherence over the critical survival of human life? This historical moment remains a powerful lesson on military doctrine, leadership, and the immense human cost of strategic operations. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. We will see you in the next topics as we continue to explore pivotal moments in history.